Despite a long history of being claimed as a homophobe, transphobe, Nazi, and JSchlatt has managed to maintain a tremendous level of brevity and notoriety in the internet space. His presence and association with the project or group sometimes being the main or attention-grabbing piece to it. To name a few, being his former association with the disbanded Lunch Club, OTK, and his podcast Chuckle Sandwich with friends Ted Nivison and Slimesicle. Like we stated earlier, Schlatt has been no stranger to controversy, but despite being called a plethora of unappealing and very demeaning things and being quote-unquote cancelled numerous times by either the Minecraft community or whatever community Schlatt has offended during his reign on YouTube, Schlatt has managed to not only be completely unfazed by these seeming defamations of his character, but also manages to keep moving forward as strong as ever, gaining tens of thousands of subscribers by the day and millions of views across his many channels. The most notable being JSchlatt Live, Big Guy, Schlag, and his most recent project Did Schlatt Win? A lot of that success stems from something recently dubbed the Unbothered Mindset, which allows him to be able to work and create charismatic and gripping pieces of entertainment for his very loyal fanbase, while also dismissing and even destroying any and all invalid attempts to cancel the big guy, meaning all his efforts goes into growing his YouTube channel and furthering his self-improvement. Schlatt's usage of this impenetrable mindset has launched him into internet infamy, guaranteeing any video with his association or presence millions of views and thousands of subscribers. In order to understand Schlatt and acquire the Unbothered Mindset, let's rewind back to the early 90s and 2000s. In 1991, a study was conducted by Professors Todd F. Heatherton and Janet Polivy, in which they studied the associations between self-esteem and effective responses to social interactions. The study came to the conclusion that participants with high self-esteem were also observed to be more resilient to negative feedback or social rejection. They showed greater emotional stability and were less affected by criticism or disapproval from others. Conversely, people with lower self-esteem tended to display more negative affective responses during social interactions. They were more susceptible to experiencing negative emotions such as anxiety, embarrassment, and shame in social settings, and more often than not, avoided social interaction in order to avoid negative feedback, whether it be valid or not. Another study of note to corroborate the findings on self-esteem is a study about the correlation between self-esteem and life success, made in 2003 by 4 professors: Roy Baumeister, Jennifer Campbell, Joachim Kruger, and Kathleen Vos, by which they found a positive correlation in all endeavors of life in regards to high self-esteem. People with high self-esteem were more confident and resilient to challenges and setbacks, more likely to pursue higher education, achieve better academic performance, and were more likely to be both satisfied with their job and advance in their careers. The part we're going to be emphasizing here is said person's resilience and adaptation to negative setbacks and challenges, as it pertains heavily to the core of the unbothered mindset. People who harbored more healthy self-esteem, emphasis on the word healthy, were more resilient to invalid negative feedback meant to set them back emotionally, not only giving them great mental health, but a grander sense of what is valid feedback or not, and giving them less time to worry about what everyone thinks, and more about how to get to where they want to be in life. By now, I think you know where I seem to be going here. The unbothered mindset is a mindset that is developed by people with high self-esteem who acknowledge their self-worth, and are not swayed by external validation and/or negative and pointless criticism. Similar to Stoicism, it is a state of mind where an individual stays calm and composed, and unaffected by external circumstance, able to detach themselves from unnecessary stress and trauma. Armed with self-awareness and self-control, unbothered people are able to respond to challenging circumstances and hate with poise and maturity. Unbothered people recognize that they cannot control other people's opinions or actions. Therefore, they shouldn't invest emotional energy in trying to appeal to them or find a solution when, in a lot of cases, there really isn't one. Alright, so now you know what the unbothered mindset is, but how does Schlatt exhibit this mindset, and more importantly, how can you acquire this mindset? Well, let's start with Schlatt first. Schlatt has been a YouTuber for the better part of 9 years, being in the grander spotlight of YouTube for 5 of those years, considering his breakout video on TTD, or if we want to get extremely pedantic with a tribute to Minecraft. He has not only been extremely consistent with his personality, his wits, and fostered the edgy, satirical, Catholic, and aggressive personality that is Schlatt, but also rose to stardom and legend status by entering the Minecraft community, a community notorious for being extremely obsessive, angry, and borderline psychotic to the people that they idolize, and left that community scot-free. Even better, spat in their face and rejected them.
Get fucked! Fuck you! Fuck you! Never come back, bitch! All of you! Every single last one of you. I never want to see you ever fucking again on this Twitch stream. This is fucking mine. And there's no way any of you are going to come in here with these bullshit-ass usernames and try and take my show away from me.
Throughout his career, one thing is strikingly evident: his extreme self-awareness. JSchlatt not only displays extreme subtle self-confidence in his ability to separate the jokes from reality, but also has extreme confidence that the audience that he caters to understands that what he says and his actions are just that for them: entertainment, meant to entertain, not especially to peddle a message, not to open up to the fans or influence them to be any of the things he's being accused of, but only to be on screen purely to give the viewers some laughs and then move on to whatever it was that they were in the middle of. It's clear that this awareness of separation of humorous, satirical, and edgy content and seriousness was completely intentional, as you see glimpses of more of the serious and possibly the real version of JSchlatt in The Weekly Slap, one of his more glossed over channels, where he legitimately opens up about his life and his past, what he has struggled with, and how other people can solve their problems, through a series on the channel where he responds to emails sent to JSchlatt, asking him to help with their personal problems. With that said, JSchlatt not only made it so that he can clearly acknowledge which people legitimately watch and enjoy his content and listen to them, but also cut out anybody who doesn't care about him, trying to meddle with his work for the sole purpose of not criticizing but tearing down his career and reputation. The people who invest in him are the people that he focuses on, while the rest can go scream at the wall. Now, I tell you this to make it clear: the only reason JSchlatt has not been cancelled at all despite being in such controversy is because he simply doesn't care. He's completely unbothered by the screams of rabid fans who don't watch him and simply want to see his career burn, because they are not part of his life and the things that he legitimately holds attention to. He possesses no emotional attachment to them. He can freely spit on them and taunt them forever because they do nothing for him. So why go through all the stress and drama to appease them?
Shaking their fist in the air.
It's because they don't watch me.
And
it's because
that's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, because you don't have any effect on his content.
Trying to convince people who don't watch my content and never will watch my content because I don't make it for them. It's not worth my time convincing them I'm not a terrible person. So I don't worry about it, and I'm doing fine. And
the
really,
only way it would have an
honestly,
effect
dude,
is if your fans were pissed off.
And they're
at
not,
you.
because they understand.
JSchlatt is using the unbothered mindset every single time he streams, unbothered by the people who hate him unjustly, and invested in the people who care about him and legitimately support him. This is something that should be common among all creators. For example, going back to the Minecraft community, they have tore through and harassed people that they say they idolize, Quackity being cancelled over speaking a different language, TommyInnit being cancelled for just simply saying a word, to name a couple incidents, as these online attacks never seem to stop and progressively develop over smaller and more minute reasons as every day passes. So how do you be unbothered? Well, we said that people with high self-esteem develop this mindset. It's actually incredibly easy to acquire the basics of this mindset. All you need to do to start is to realize what is valid criticism and what is invalid criticism, what genuinely applies to you and what you need to work on, and what criticism completely misses the core of your problems and self-improvement, but simply has your name slapped on it. Understand that you inherently have self-worth to not get stepped on, but it doesn't mean you don't have the capacity to change when you are going in the wrong direction, and again when you are genuinely making a mistake. Here's an example with JSchlatt.
I was a very cynical kid. I'd make jokes at other people's expenses a lot of the time. And I didn't even realize I was doing it or the extent I was doing it or how it made other people feel until one of my friends, who I considered one of my better friends at the time, said to me, "I fucking hate you." And the fact that I couldn't tell was a wake-up call for me, in that I didn't know that was even, a thing that anybody thought. And it was that kick in the ass that got me thinking about the way I acted and the way I joked with people. And I'm not saying I fixed myself, right? I'm saying that it took that realization to eventually start taking steps to fix it. And you've made that realization too. So there's no reason now that you can't build yourself up to be a better man.
You don't have to be as outspoken and as loud as JSchlatt is, but to be unbothered is really to just detach yourself from the noise and respond to all the cacophony of unimportant criticism with indifference. Know the weight of your self-worth enough so that people can't throw you around without getting their arm tired. Conversely, also know that you need to grow as well and that you aren't perfect. Maintain a healthy balance between understanding, growing, and learning from your mistakes, and moving yourself away from the people who just want to see you crumble. So what if everyone doesn't like you? If they don't like you for an unfair and invalid reason, quite frankly, screw them. But if they don't like you for a valid and sound reason that you should fix about yourself, fix it. Don't act like you're any different from everyone when it comes to your mistakes. But know that you are unique when it comes to your success. It is yours, and nobody can take that away from you. Good luck.
It just comes down to, am I going to waste my time trying to convince people who don't watch my content and will never watch my content? Am I going to waste my time trying to convince them that I'm not this terrible monster that they think I am? And when I do the math in my head, I always come to just, no, it's not, because they don't like this. It's just not worth my time. It's not worth the air. And so I just let people say whatever they want to say. And I'm kind of chilling in my corner doing fine.
What about when the stands rise up, though? Because those are people who
they hold no
watch
power.
your content. They do care deeply.
They hold no power. No, actually, I don't think a lot of them do.